Hello and welcome to episode 5 of the Love, Peace, Unity Movement podcast. I'm your host, Colin Teal. This week's episode is about spirit politics, hip-hop, and a couple other subjects here. Our guest this week is my good brother, Aaron, here. Someone I met on the Kick app. Thank you, Aaron. Welcome to the podcast.
Hey, Colin. Thank you for having me.
It's good to have you. Alright, so where do you want to begin with this?
I guess we can do the basic question: is how did we get here? How did we meet? Do you want to go first, or do you want me to?
Well, how we met is on a an app called Kick, and it's just a casual conversation. There's a group there called Spiritual Awakening. I met a couple of really great people there. It's a really good community. We're all very supportive. And there's a lot of wise people there like Aaron and Steffi Lou and Caleb from the past podcast here. Making me really think. So that's basically how it started. And Aaron's been interested in this podcast for quite some time now. And he's got a lot of audio skills, so that's really good.
Yes, I'm a fan. I'm looking forward to being possibly part of the team. Yeah. I was a big fan listening to this stuff, and I'm like, I gotta get involved. And yeah, just like Colin said, I was just on Kick. I found it originally because of Xbox games, playing online Xbox games with my friends, and Kick became a good group chat that we all used. And I started to explore the other group chats. Eventually I got into the spirit group chats, which is a wormhole itself. And I'm sure I feel like we might have met in other groups before, but it wasn't until that Spiritual Awakening group where I realized that you were actively creating content. And that's when I was like, okay, yeah, I want to be part of that.
Yeah, the main intent of my content, I don't know if you've surfed through my channel or watched the new visitor video, is obviously to really help not only enlighten people on basically spiritual knowledge, but also to really help inspire people to go out there and really do good for their fellow man and really just make a change in somebody's life and all that, you know?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think this is the kind of stuff that needs to be on the radio. Not just like, oh, did you hear about the celebrities, or did you hear about the sports teams? No hate on that. I'm not trying to be negative, but I really think the content and the stuff that is talked about on your channel, I think that's the kind of direction that humans need to head towards. That's where we got to get our head at.
Oh yeah, I agree.
So thank you for having me on.
Oh, it's a pleasure. So, let's get into spirit politics as a starter. I'm interested in that myself.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay. Obviously, if you type in Wikipedia spirit politics, I don't think you're going to find anything. But just the two words put together, spirit, I'm sure most of us have a couple definitions on that, but normally that means something that's past the physical, or the essence. So that would be our definition for spirit. And then politics, I feel like, is also a misinterpreted. People hear the word politics and they think politicians in suits and laws and bills being petitioned, voting ballots, red and blue, Republican, Democrat, or whatever, whatever country you're in, whatever political system you're in. I feel like that's a lot of smoke and mirrors, because real politics is just, I think, how we govern each other, how we choose to behave as a whole. I like to say to my friends a lot, politics existed back in caveman times. It was just about who was the biggest, strongest caveman with the biggest club, and then he would just, take the food that he wanted and take the women he wanted and beat up anybody who disagreed. That was politics back then. That was the way that we as humans decided to govern ourselves. Now we've dressed it up a lot, but it's still the same thing. So just to bring it back home, spiritual politics would be like, what if it starts up there and then manifests itself down here in voting and ballots and laws, but really it starts in the thought. And before a bill is even made or passed, we have to think about it and talk about it in our heart or soul, and then we can bring it down here and actually sign it and bring it into action. So I just started to think about what is the, if you could imagine what kind of politics would be out there in the thought realm. I know we're getting really metaphysical right out the gate here, but I guess it's a good way to start the podcast. I'm sure a lot of people have heard of Galactic Federation of Light.
Oh yeah, I've heard of it.
What do you know about it, I guess I should ask?
Well, I've heard about it from several YouTube contenters. It's a collective of multiple races of ETs, from as far as I know. Both multiple, they could reside in the spirit dimension or in multiple ones. There's so many of them, but they're all benevolent ETs, and from what I know, they're all working towards helping Earth with, or Mother Gaia with her ascension, and helping us
they're like the good guys.
Yeah, I'm aware of both sides.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to, I guess one thing I should make very clear before I start sounding like a crazy wacko guy, I know I probably already do, is that I don't adamantly believe these things. I am entertaining these possibilities. I think it's good to take different points of view in, and I think it's good to listen to other people's ideas, even if they seem crazy. So I've explored a lot of these ideas, and I kind of build up my own. If you ask me, I can tell you what I'm working with or what I think, but I never want to say that, whoever's listening should be believing what we're saying. I really advocate find your own path, think for yourself. I try to remain grounded because I know that getting lost in a lot of this stuff, talking about ETs, are they spirits, are they aliens, how does this work, it really can get foggy or hazy. So I do try to stay adamant that it's like I was saying to my friend last night, once you think you don't know. Once you start going about it as if you figured out every piece and speaking in a matter-of-fact way, I normally find the universe throws you a curveball, which will just shatter whatever foundation you had built up. So I try not to I try not to be too strict into my foundation.
Yeah.
I try to be able to flexible.
Yeah, I'm actually aware of a quote. I don't know who it is, but I think it says, it goes like this: "All I know is I know nothing," which applies to this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that being said, now I can feel more confident to speculate on what the Galactic Federation of Light is.
Yeah.
They could be ETs, they could be spirits, but from the main mythos, if you do asking around and looking, a lot of people are agreeing that, yeah, these are the good guys, and they're working through us. I've heard theories that most of us down here, like me and you, and most of the listeners to this stuff that are entertained in this, we're kind of on the beginning of the wave. We incarnated into these vessels so that way we could start these, just like I was saying, it has to start up there, and then we talk about it and bring it down here, and then eventually enact it into bills. So according to that mythos, we are the Galactic Federation of Light, or we are like ambassadors, or like the first line of troops or some stuff like that. I think Dolores Cannon. Have you heard of Dolores Cannon?
I don't think so. What is it?
She is I think she's passed away now, but she was a very famous hypnotherapist. She did past life regression therapy. She called it the subconscious, but she did believe like there was some spiritual qualities to it. And she's a very well respected in the New Age community, I guess you could say, as touchy as that title seems to be nowadays. But she talks about 3 waves of volunteers that came down or from wherever. Normally it's referred to as up and down, not to say one's better than the other. But there was 3 waves of volunteers that incarnated as humans on this earth or this realm to help raise the vibration, like get people talking about these things and thinking about things that are past the physical.
Yeah, definitely.
And part of me, again, if I'm not going to say I know for sure, but part of me resonates with that, and I do kind of feel like it lines up that we are probably like part of that. We're the 3rd wave of volunteers, and we're like the ending of the first wave, and I think it's still just beginning, but like we were like the first flag bearers to come and bring it in, and then like our grandparents, like the hippie generation, was probably the first wave, like starting in the 50s or 60s, possibly.
Yeah, even though personally I feel like my parents are never open to this stuff, but my mom and dad love their bubbles, if I could say that, but anyway.
Yeah. I'm sure most of the listeners can relate to that.
Yeah.
So
they feel like
to relate it back to the spirit politics.
Yeah.
What were you going to say? Were you going to finish a point?
Yeah, I was just say, a lot of listeners out there, if you feel like the black sheep in your family, if you feel like the oddball out, you're not alone. Trust me, I'm in this. Probably Aaron's in this, I'm guessing.
I think I'm lucky to have slightly accepting parents, but yeah, I've been there where it's just, I know if I have kids, they're gonna push me out of my box. They're gonna say things that will make me shake my head, plug my ears, la 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 la. Oh, I don't want to hear this. Because that's just part of evolving.
Yeah. Although discussing this, you might be a little bit curious about what they would have to say, but anyways.
I hope that I can. I pray I can be open-minded.
Yeah. I want to get into another point here before we get into one of your favorite things here. I want to talk about the afterlife / reincarnation. You put a point here, how does suicide affect reincarnation? So basically the afterlife and reincarnation. Can we get into that?
Yeah, I guess we could tie that because it goes in with spirit politics. So assuming that there is entities working, in other realms trying to like change laws down here, and they possibly, if they call themselves a federation out there, it's possible. I've heard theories that there's all types of federations, and they're all, there's bills in the spirit world being passed and vetoed and all that stuff, but it's not so slow and with paper and ink like the way we do it down here, because it's not physical.
Yeah.
But so to tie in with that, once we're done with our job here, and this vehicle is done and we leave it, we're gonna go back there, possibly like with our mission or our paperwork, or what did you get done? Did you do your job? Okay, well, this is where you're gonna go next. You got a job to do over here, or something like that. So a person who would commit suicide from this lens would be a person that they had a job, but they neglected it, or they couldn't complete it, or they or they forgot about it and didn't even remember, because they also say Dolores Cannon said when she was talking about those volunteers, she said when you choose to come here, you know why you came here, but once you're born here, you forget everything. And the part of the journey in your life is remembering why you came here. And some of us don't remember, some of us don't find out for whatever reason. And I think normally it comes with giving up. Like, I feel the people that are down here with the hardest missions, they were probably the strongest or the most ambitious souls, so they wouldn't have put themselves through this if they didn't think that they could get out of it. You know, it's like they picked hard mode if it was a video game. I relate things to games a lot just because it's, you know, it's how I understood things, I guess, growing up. But so yeah, it would be like a person who just they would come back and be like, you know, did you get your things done? No. Okay, well maybe you'll have to go back again and do it again, or maybe you'll have to go back harder. I've heard some people say it's like flunking a grade or getting demoted because you came down with an opportunity or a mission, and then whatever lessons that you were supposedly learned to get here, apparently you can't cut it for whatever reason. I know it sounds brutal, just it sounds cold to say it like that, but it's just like in school. If you got graduated to the 4th grade, but then all the work that they're throwing at you, you just can't keep up with it, that's not your fault. It's okay. You just have to go back to the 3rd grade and relearn some stuff. You know, like the things you thought you knew, you didn't know that well, and so now we got to go back. So that's why I think when you hear the Bible, the Bible thumpers, as you call them, they say, oh, if you commit suicide, you're going to hell. I don't believe that. I don't think so. I don't think it's so black and white. But I do think to commit suicide is to willingly leave. And I have heard, you know, we could spend a whole podcast probably on the topic of suicide itself, because there's many ways that people could take one's life, not always under sadness or giving up the mentality of that. Sometimes it's other things out of honor, love, weird rituals where they think that the stars have aligned, and if they kill themselves now that they'll reincarnate on this planet. There's a lot of strange suicides out there, and not all of them, I can't really explain all of them, but the ones I'm speaking on are the ones that I relate to, of like the people I know that have taken that step, and the people I know that have thought about it and struggled with it. You know, I've been there when I was younger, and so that's kind of how I looked at it when I did think about leaving. It was more like what's the point of being here? Not so much sadness, it was just a point of apathy. I was lost. I didn't really know why I was here. So I just felt like, why would it wouldn't be that big a deal if I left, right? But luckily, I was able to get back on track, and I feel like my life's been a lot better since then.
Yeah, I can resonate with that. My story, real quick, is, I think it was almost 2 years ago. I was going through one of the darkest periods of my life. I actively drank, and I tried to smoke just to destroy my lungs. I didn't give crap. I thought, you know, I know it's going to sound weird, but one of the movies inspired me to do all this crazy stuff, like drinking, you know, body spray and all that. I would put it in my mouth to get butane to, like, destroy everything. It was more like, you know, Mad Max Fury Road.
What was the movie?
Yeah, Mad Max Fury Road.
Max.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to Valhalla and shit like that.
Oh wow, I haven't seen that one. But he does that in the movie. He hurts himself on purpose.
Yeah, but that was me. I thought, you know, this isn't right. I wasn't born the right way, or nothing is going right. Why do I feel like an odd cheese ball in this place? But you know what? After a while, after a lot of both self-love and love, I would say, from the divine or from the angels, a lot of support and a lot of encouragement and a lot of gentleness, I guess.
Yeah.
I was lifted out, and now I feel like I'm on a roller coaster that only goes up. My friends have actually told me that when they met me 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago, I was just an empty, I was full of,
Yeah.
yes, but over time,
Yeah,
it began to,
I totally agree.
yeah,
Like that's a good test if you ask your old friends. Go if you want to see how you're doing. Go see how others see you, especially those that used to know you. Go see them again, and you'll get to see how they grew, and then they'll get to see how you've grown as well. And like you can really teach each other a lot. I've had my friends just the same thing you're saying, like, wow, you don't even look the same, or you're like you're a completely different person.
yeah, definitely. It's an amazing thing, especially for me, and probably for you. Lives have changed dramatically for the better, and now people are happier and they're on a amazing road.
Yeah, and to my friends, I know I know I sounded harsh earlier talking about the concept of the mentality of giving up and stuff like that. To anybody who is thinking about it, or who has, or if you know someone who has, like my friends that have, it's okay. We all, just like you're saying, there's all these angels around you, there's all these friends and family that love you and support you unconditionally, no matter how alone you feel. Like it's okay, you're fine. Even if you want to give up, I pray that you don't, because I know like that's the moments that you feel like giving up are the moments that you shouldn't. But I've been there. I've given up before. I've been broken and fallen, and sometimes you have to fall. Like they say, sometimes surrender is the strongest move. And so to some of my friends that have taken that step, I can't know why they did it. I can't say why they did it, and I don't hold anything against them. Like I'm always gonna love them, and so I hope that anybody who's like struggling with how to look at that, that's my point of view on it. I don't want to come off as, oh, they didn't make it. Like, it's more like you came here to do the best you did, just like a game, just like a video game. It's not, or a sport game, whatever you want to call it. It's not about winning or losing. It's about you came here, you tried your hardest, you gave it your all, you grew and learned, you made friends, all that stuff. Like, that's what really matters. And you had fun. People forget that part.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're supposed to have fun.
Yeah.
Okay, we can go to the next topic.
But a quick little thing for anyone out there who is facing all these, I just want to say, anyone who is facing depression, suicidal thoughts, or anyone who's really struggling in there, you're feeling alone. You're not alone. We're praying for you. We're here. And if you ever need someone to come to, try me or Aaron, or we just have, we'll be there for you. We'll listen. We're not going to judge. And
yeah, it'd be cool to get viewer questions and group therapy sessions on, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, this is a community where you can feel safe, and we got you. It's okay. So,
couldn't have said it better.
So for the next topic, for the last one, I guess, I just wanted to talk about what is this? You mentioned hip hop and relating to. This is your time, right?
Yes. Hip hop and spirituality. I was telling Colin, and if people that look into my stuff, I've only got like one song on that YouTube channel that I'm on, but I make music. I'm a big fan of all music, but hip hop seemed to be like part of the. I don't subscribe to any religion or ideology, but two big pillars and foundations. I was raised Christian Presbyterian, like as a child. It wasn't forced upon me, but I was raised with the stories of the Bible, and that had a good influence on my upbringing, I believe. I wasn't told all that fire and brimstone stuff. I was just told the stories of Samson and his hair, and David and Goliath, and how the little David beat the big Goliath because, God was on his side, and stuff like that. The stories like that really stuck with me. And then hip-hop was a huge part in my later years when I started to grow away from religion. Hip-hop almost became my other religion, to where I was excuse me, I was studying these artists, and I'm not, when I say hip hop, I'm not talking like the mainstream surface level, which most people think of hip hop. I know they think of big booty girls and money, bling bling chains, and violence, gang violence and all that stuff. I feel like that's really just a bad, what would you say? Almost like propaganda, I would say. It's just trying to distort the picture of the real community of what hip-hop is. And what I think it is it's one of the newest cultures, along with rock and stuff too, but it's one of those newest cultures that started from the city where it was neglected communities, not just one color of people. The very famous story of hip-hop starting was in the Bronx, where a DJ named DJ Kool Herc, he drove around the block in the projects in the Bronx in Brooklyn, with his giant speakers bumping to all the people in the housing projects. And he would throw block parties, and all the people would come. Mostly the people in poverty. So it did happen to be minorities. Majority of it was minorities, as in Puerto Ricans, African Americans, Haitians. Since it's New York on the East Coast, that was the kind of mix you were getting. But there was also lower class white citizens there as well. And they all got together. So that was another misinterpretation, I guess, people have, is that hip hop is only one color, or that, if you're white you can't enjoy hip hop. By the way, I'm mixed. Not that ethnicity matters, but it sounds like, he's defending white people or whatever. But I am a mixed. My mom was Native American, Gila River Pima, the Akimel O'odham, the river people. That's down here in Phoenix, Arizona. So I'm actually privileged to be in a city where, like, my ancestors actually set foot, like, I'm on this land. They lived here in the same place that I did, on my mom's side. And then my dad is mixed, French Canadian, Scottish, Irish, German, a bunch of white mixes. But anyways, were you saying something?
I said, but in essence, we're all one. I guess I heard that some scientists or historians say race doesn't really exist. We're really all one. But yeah, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that proves, I feel like I'm pandering to the audience that listens to this podcast. Probably I don't, I'm preaching to the choir when I say that it's not about color or race, because most people, if you're into spirituality and stuff like that, you're kind of past that. But I did, I just wanted to drive that point home, that hip-hop is a melting pot. It is a result of a mixture of people. So Prince Ken Swift, I was going to say, was one of the best b-boys or breakdancers from New York, in the original place where hip-hop got its credit to being started at. And he was a white kid, but he had one of the freshest, cleanest footwork styles on the block, so he became up there with the legends. And same with, it wasn't just men either. There was female MCs, female rappers, female breakdancers, and graffiti artists. They've always been part of it. It has never been a black, violent male in the lower class, or even now they try to market it as big, blingy stuff. No, it is. Hip-hop is about the people, and it is about a mixture of styles. All these different people that lived from all these different cultures getting together and mixing their musics, mixing their dance moves. They would watch kung fu films and then put backflips in their breakdance moves, and then rap about kung fu. Wu-Tang. They watch so many Shaolin films. If you listen to the rap group, the Wu-Tang Clan, there's so many references to kung fu fighting styles, and Shaolin monks, and it really is a mixture of all styles, which is why I feel so passionate about it. I mean, we could probably do a whole podcast again on hip-hop itself, but to sum it up, I feel like that was like why it really attracted me to it. And after being a fan of listening to it for so long, I breakdanced as a kid, but I never thought I could rap. I never thought that I could make beats or anything. But I slowly started to get into the art of music making and all that. And that's what I mean when I say hip-hop. I don't just mean music. There's the famous 4 elements of hip-hop, which is breakdancing, graffiti writing, rapping, MCing, and then the final one is DJing, or scratching and sampling and beat making. I would put all those in that category. And so they're really just 4 ways of creative expression. That was why I also wanted to relate it to just creating content in general, to create art in general. I would argue is hip-hop. You know, it's kind of reaching, I know, for some people, because it's like hip-hop is only just this musical genre. But in the words of KRS-One, hip-hop is not just a culture, it's a civilization. And he said everybody is hip-hop. A man, woman, black, white, Native American, every one of you is hip-hop. You either know it or you don't know it. That's the only difference. And I use that sample in one of my songs.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to direct our listeners to your channel so they can listen to it and encourage you to make more.
Yeah, I'll have to put that song up now, so then if somebody clicks on there, they're going to be like, where's that song?
Yeah, it's made by a pretty cool guy. Alright. Wow, well, this has been very informative. Well, thank you for coming onto the podcast, Aaron. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, man, thanks for having me. We could go forever, but I'm sure we'll just meet up. We'll arrange another one.
We hope to have you on again soon.
Awesome, yeah, man, thank you.
And special thanks to our listeners out there. We hope...
Oh, can I do a little plug real quick?
Sure.
Plug my Instagram. My YouTube just has 1 video on it, so that's not much. But you can find me on Instagram, where I post my glass artwork. I think I'm going to make a music one, a glass one, a spirit one. But right there, mostly my glass is on there. And it's under Highway 602, HWY 602, the same name. So yeah, go give me a follow on there if you guys are listening. Thank you very much.
We hope you'll join us again next week, and have a wonderful week, everyone.
Thanks, Colin. Bye, guys.
Alright, bye.
Alright.